It's all sorted now. Right. So, welcome to Behind the Scenes with myself, Emmy Hickins, and we've got a prolific songwriter, Trevor Gear. He also happens to be my buddy. I call him bruv. But don't be deceived by that. I'm going to be grilling him today. We've he's, he's in for a grilling today. Some very difficult questions are going to be coming his way. Yeah, so like I said, I'm Emmy Hickins, and he calls me bruv. And
And I'm Trevor Gear, and he calls me Rob, yeah, and I call him Cuz.
because
Sorry, it's been a long morning.
because yes, that's it. Right. So we've got two songs that we're going to be trying to touch on today. And one is "Cause You're a Woman." That
Yeah.
one really makes me laugh. And the other one is much of a subtle title called Lady. So it's your choice, bruv. Which one do you want to go for first?
I'd like to start with Lady, please.
Oh, good, Lady. Okay. So like I said, like we introduced the topic. I mean the show is called Behind the Lyrics. So we're going to be finding out what is behind the lyrics of the song called Lady, song titled Lady by Trevor Gear. Can you tell us what album this song is from, please?
Now that is a very good question. Uh, My apologies. I will find out before the end.
By the end of the show. We'll get
Yeah,
that at the end of the show. Now,
yeah. Bear
Lady,
with me.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Lady, so I'm just going to read out what it says here. It says, Lady, you are so beautiful. Lady, somehow I have it all. I love you more than ever you could ever know. Sorry. Lady, I love you so. Lady, tell me, what did I do? Lady, to make you love me too. I can't sleep. I can't get you out of my head. Lady, I've been awoken instead, intoxicated with you. Somehow the world is kinder. The sky's more blue. May our love thrive and survive. My dreams are all coming true. Nothing seems impossible now that I'm with you. And I feel so alive. And then it's the instrumental, and then it's intoxicated by you. No one has ever no one has ever loved me the way that you do. Now my days are so fine. Want to spend each time with you, for together we are one. Where we used to be two, I don't believe you are mine. I can't believe you are mine, sorry. Lady, take my hand from this day. Lady, your hand in mine all the way. I love you. Incredibly, you love me too. Lady, this song is for you. A song for us too. My medley for you. Wow, wow, wow. Now, I would call it a love song, but for this part where he says, um, what's that? Let me see, I could do more. I can't sleep, I can't get you out of my head. I've a walking lady, I've been a walking I've been
Yeah.
a walk. Now, is it a love song?
Well, I would say it's a pretty good spot on your part, Cuz. It's not it's not exactly a process song. I mean, God, I'm so romantic. You read those out. I was almost in tears. I really was. But yeah, I think it's it's fair to say it is a love song. And yeah, I mean that's the theme in a way of both of these songs today, if we get on to the second one. Uh Love. And I suppose we can think about love, can't we? The relationship between two human beings. I mean, in the case of a marriage or relationship between a man and a woman,
Yeah.
for it to be good, I think it's important that a woman should be a man's friend. She should she should be his lover.
All
She
right.
should laugh at his jokes, and a woman should also be his confidant. So
Yeah.
she's got to be a lot of things, and I think the most important thing for the man is to ensure that all these different women never actually meet each other, because that can be pretty poor for the relationship. And I
Right.
can see from your expression, my attempt at a joke has gone right over your head. I don't think I said it very well, but it's going really well today, isn't it, Cuz? Yeah. But no, we are talking about this thing called love, and it is strange, that everything sort of changes in somebody. And I think when I wrote this song, it was kind of, well, it was autobiographical, albeit slightly retro, going back.
I do apologize for
Not
that.
sure what that was.
Yeah, get
Some
out.
Sorry about that, bro. Yeah, sorry.
someone
Yeah.
objecting to what I'm saying. Yeah. So yeah, it's completely thrown me now. So one lousy joke, one interruption, and we're not, we're not doing too well. But yeah, I think when I wrote the song,
Right.
I think it was, you can never forget the emotions that both thrill, but also which afflict a human when they fall for somebody else, when two people particularly fall for each other. And one of the things, of course, we say is falling in love, don't we? We say we fall in love. And I guess that's because it's a bit like falling ill. We don't have any control over it. It just happens. And that kind of idea. And in fact, if you looked around at other European languages, Spanish, German, French, they all also have the same words to fall in love, and it denotes, I think, not really being in control. Your body and your mind, your brain particularly, does change. So I think I had those things in mind about this song, and I suppose love and relationships are the main subjects of any song that is written. And most songs anyway, if you look at most performers' songs, most songwriters' songs, they have to do with a relationship in some way or another. So yeah, this song, "Lady," I liked the title. I guess I wanted to write a song called "Lady" for some time. And again, for me, I always, when I write my songs, as I've said before, I have someone in mind, very much in mind when I write a song,
Yeah.
or a situation in mind, because then it becomes doable. It becomes more straightforward. As I've said before, I find it quite difficult just to say, "Oh, I'll write a song about something and invent a scenario." It doesn't inspire me to do it that way. So I think my feelings for this person at the time came out very much in that song. The other thing I think to remember is that when people do fall in love, their brain chemistry actually changes. It really is like an affliction, and it's not, it's not easy to. I've looked at a few things that do change. It's not easy to cope. Your whole
It
mind is
becomes
taken over.
doable. It
Um,
becomes,
a few things that do change.
yeah.
It's not easy to cope. Your whole mind. Right, that's me talking, and it was echoing back on us, wasn't it?
Yeah, sorry. That's fixed
Yeah.
now.
I'll carry on anyway. Yeah, so when you fall in love, someone's brain undertakes a dramatic change, in a chemical shift that mirrors sort of addiction, obsession, and a natural high. And just to look at the chemicals that do change, it's quite interesting to see what happens when people fall in love. Dopamine, one of the hormones, it spikes. The brain releases massive amounts of this feel-good chemical, creating intense pleasure, high energy, and hyper focus on your partner. The norepinephrine rises. This is a stress hormone that triggers physical symptoms like a racing heart, sweaty palms, and the feeling of having butterflies in your stomach. Serotonin drops. Levels of this mood stabilizer plummet to a deficit similar to those found in obsessive compulsive disorders, causing intrusive, repetitive thoughts about the person. So you're seeing the brain develops this kind of obsessive nature.
Right.
Oxytocin floods the brain, known as the cuddle hormone. It surges during physical intimacy to create deep feelings of attachment, security, and emotional bonding. And lastly, cortisol increases. Early stage romance acts as a stressor, raising cortisol levels to help your body handle the excitement and the uncertainty. And of course, that those kinds of feelings they last quite a long time, but it ranges from really from 6 months to 24 months when in a way the brain chemistry reverts to normality and it's replaced all those excesses of hormone or disappearance of hormone replaced by a longer lasting hopefully uh, relationship binding situation. So that's what happens to people. It is a bit like an illness, which is why they say people fall in love. And the other very important thing to remember about love
Mm.
is we don't, I've said it earlier, we don't have any control. You know, what is it? The heart wants what the heart wants. I think in one or two of my songs, like Aphrodite's Voice,
Mm.
I sing about love doesn't come through the eyes. Yeah, we see people, we might find people physically attractive, and that's quite a start point. But actually, the heart sees something beyond that, and something kind of clicks into action and starts affecting the brain. And suddenly somebody realizes that they are falling in love, falling in love. So yeah, it's a bit like an illness because it's so dominating of everything you feel when you meet someone you consider to be that special person. And if I said at the end of the song, if they love you too, I say I love you incredibly, you love me too. It seems quite hard sometimes in theory, and perhaps in practice, to fall in love with someone and to have them fall in love with you. There seems to be a lot of unrequited love around where one person doesn't return the feelings of another. But when you think of the number of relationships, whether it's marriage or people just together, it does happen. It happens quite often that people do find something in find a spark in something in someone maybe who's attracted to them or whatever else. So this song is all about love really, and it talks about intoxicated with you. There is a sense of intoxication, almost being drunk on these feelings that your brain is pumping the hormones around you. Somehow the world is kinder, the sky is more blue, may our love thrive and survive. And I think that's true. When you're feeling good, I'm sure as you led up to your wedding a few months ago, the sky probably did seem more blue.
Mm.
Everything just felt great because the person you love so much, you're going to spend hopefully the rest of your life with. So love makes things that might previously have been, nothing neutral, whatever. More things seem special. Perhaps we're more alive. Our nerve endings are more aflame as we get crashing those hormones into our bodies and our minds. So I think that's what this song is all about. And of course, there's always a degree of poetic license. I mean, intoxicated by you, no one has ever loved me the way that you do. And I suppose when two people do get together, it can feel like that, even though they've had previous relationships. Every relationship is unique, and it builds from there. So yeah, that's what this song is about. I'm trying to think how long it took me to write it. I can't honestly remember that, but it's a fairly simple song in the way it's set out and the words, and yeah, it's a romantic song, and I've actually thought sometimes it would be good as a wedding song. People could well use this at their wedding as their first dance, something like that, because it is saying from the man to the woman, talking of a man and a woman here, that somehow I have it all because you're everything to me.
Mm.
So that's Lady, and yeah, I think it's probably one of my favourites of my songs because it gets to the point and it kind of stays at the point. And I like the end where I say, "I love you incredibly, you love me too." And of course, for two people who are deeply in love, that in itself is a magical feeling that you know you've met and you're together and you're bonded. And hopefully for people, it stays that way.
Yeah. When I had a listen to it, and then And then I had to have a listen to it recently before this a talk show about it. I've read it, and at first I thought, is it a love song? Is it not a love song? Is it is it about heartbreak? But then finally, I was able to narrow it down to, yeah, it is a love song. It doesn't take a genius to figure it out. But like sometimes songwriters, especially good ones like yourself, would cleverly say something, and there's an undertone to it. It's all right. So on the surface, it would
Yeah.
seem like it is. But then somebody else reads a line out of it and they go, I wonder if, you know, it's not really talking about what it's talking about.
I know what you mean. I do. Yeah.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
that got me. That got me. But then just hearing what you've said about it now, you've explained it. I thought, oh yeah, it makes sense now that it is a love song. Do you think the best songs ever written are love songs?
Yeah, I do actually. I think you can, off the top of our heads, we can probably think of some great love songs. One of the greatest Beatles songs, and ironically, it was written by George Harrison, was Something. I mean, that is renowned, I think, not just around the world, but by many, many eminent people as well as regular folk as perhaps the greatest love song ever written. It's fairly simplistic. It certainly is construction, its chords and things like that, but it's just the most beautiful tune. And so yeah, that's a wonderful love song. Um, there's so many great love songs, so I find it hard to think there could be another genre of song that could actually beat that. And I'm sure we would know that wedding songs, if we could go around the weddings and see what songs they have, we'd find a lot of them. An old love song, I think from the 70s perhaps, was When a Man Loves a Woman by Percy Sledge. Now
Hmm.
that is just a beautiful, beautiful love song. Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton, again, is a great love song. And yeah, we could go on finding and remembering great, great love songs because that is the stuff of life, isn't it, really? Um,
Yeah.
People finding each other, bonding, staying together. And that kind of is the motivation. That's the engine that keeps life going, that keeps life attractive and good, or the feel good that comes out of it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, to answer your question again, I think love songs are the best subject. And I sometimes look at my own albums or EPs where there's, say, 5 songs.
Hmm.
And generally, I would say they're not all love songs by any means, but in most of my albums, I would have at least one and sometimes two, which are not specifically love songs, because I think, yeah, it's good to sort of try your hand at something else as well. I mean, an album I'm on the verge of sending into to Medellin, but I'm a bit getting a bit stuck on the fifth song, which I've kind of recorded, but yeah, I don't know. It's not really working, so it's probably going to be another week or so. But the first song in this is something called Boxes and Blankets, which is actually my take on homelessness.
All right.
Um, so yeah, I do like to sort of come up with other ideas as well. But love songs are, and I think to be honest, as I've said before, I was divorced a few years ago now after a long marriage, and it was a good marriage in most ways. But it just ultimately didn't work out. But I had written songs during my marriage all the way through, sometimes just based on friends I've met and so on. But since I was divorced and I've had other relationships, it's certainly opened the ability that I've had or the opportunity to write love songs about other people because that obviously wasn't always the best thing to do when I was married. Come up with some songs. Listen to this to my wife, and she may not be over keen, but but yeah, so it's given me an opportunity, much more than I ever would have had, to write a lot more songs, and that I've thrived on that. I love the process of writing songs. So yeah, love songs are the thing in
Absolutely.
my view.
I would agree. I would agree 100% with you on that. And now, it's something that I've kind of noticed with love songs, and I'd like to put it to you as a songwriter. And it's the fact that most love songs are a bit biased against men. So, for instance, if I said to you, bro, can you name how many love songs can you name that has men in it? You would struggle a little bit, would you?
What do you mean? It almost in favour of a man? Do you mean
Yeah,
sort of a woman's?
so I'll give you the opposite of what I'm trying to say. So you have songs like songs that were written with women's names, like Caroline, Sweet Caroline. Um, what's another one? But there's
Yeah,
loads of them that are written
yeah,
like the one Barry Manilow wrote. I can't remember the name of the girl.
Mandy, that was,
Monday,
wasn't
yeah.
it?
So there's Monday.
Yeah.
So there's loads of them, and you
Mm,
can name at least you can easily come up with 10. How many men equivalent themed love song do you know?
mm. Yeah, I don't know whether that kind of is partially because maybe there used to be, I suspect, a lot more men songwriters than women, partly
Yeah,
because the roles were very different.
yeah.
Nowadays, it's much more equal. But I do agree, and it is mainly from a man to a woman. It really is, and I think probably that has something to do. It's a reflection of the respective roles, isn't it?
Mm,
The man is the hunter, the woman is the hunted. I mean, going right back to caveman and cavewoman days.
mm,
But we still live in a society and societies around the world where the man, it's kind of incumbent on him, if that's the way to put it, to
mm,
make the first move. Now, a lot of women nowadays will say, well, no, I invite a guy out for a drink sometimes. And it must happen a lot more. But I still think it does reflect the role we have in our society as men.
mm,
And I mean, interestingly, in our podcast on Wednesday this week, the alien spaceship, just to give that a little mention,
mm,
we're going to be sort of talking about the role going on from last week about the role of men, particularly in society,
mm.
because it, the book that you mentioned last week, and I only mentioned this briefly now,
Yeah,
Self-Made Man by
yeah.
Nora Vincent. She became a man for a year. She dressed as a man, and for all intents and purposes, she wanted to infiltrate men's things, positions, places they go.
Mm,
And she thought she would be ultimately criticizing what they would call the patriarchy, where it's a man's world and a man does much better than much better. It's much easier for men than women. That was what she went into it. In
mm,
fact, what she discovered, and it's an excellent book. I got the book after you recommended it. It's an
mm.
excellent book. What she discovered was that being a man is not really an enviable choice in life. It's
Right.
much, much harder, she said, much harder than has ever been given credit. Now, we're not here to kind of debate that now, but
No.
we'll talk about that on Wednesday in our alien spaceship. But the fact is, yeah, there's most love songs are from a man to a woman. We could find some the other way around, but not
Mm,
too many. I mean, ironically, a very much a woman song starts with the word man, doesn't it? Man, I feel like a woman, which
mm.
is, that great song, isn't it? My mind escapes me as to who sings it, but you know the one I mean.
Shania Twain.
Shania Twain, yeah,
Twain.
a brilliant song about the joys of being a woman, the fun they can have. Women are probably more cut out in society as people, as beings, to have fun. They are the ones who are gazed upon by the males. I mean, God made women very attractive for the man to come together with her. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, and it's sad when it gets a bit sarcastic. If you
mm,
take "Stand by Your Man" by a number of people, that ultimately you said about hidden meanings, and I don't think the meaning in that was so hidden because
mm,
basically she's saying, "Stand by your man. After all, he's only a man." Is one of the lines, as
mm,
if we can't cope, So you get negative against men's songs as well.
mm,
But yeah, most love songs are written for by a man for a
mm,
woman, and I think
mm,
that is just reflective of how it is in life, really.
mm, mm. Now, when we're talking about, I mean, we're not going to go into it, like you said, but we're not going to, but just for the sake of songwriting, now, when we're talking about equality in the gender spectrum, um, do you think it's time for women to also start writing songs about men?
Well, yeah, I think um, yeah, I do. I tell you a little story, which is not strictly the same as that,
No.
but I can relate this to two very recent examples of perhaps a woman saying something very positive to a man. Now,
Mm,
a couple of months ago, I was on holiday, and one of the places I spent time in was Barcelona, and I went into a shop there, and there was a very nice woman who was serving, and this shop sold all sorts of things. And they sold some very interesting microphones, which obviously I thought, well, that could be useful. I mean, I've got microphones, obviously, for my recordings, but these had different facilities on them. So I was talking to this lady about it. I did my best in my broken Spanish to talk about it. But anyway, I said, well, okay. I said, we got to go and have lunch. I said, but I'll come back after lunch, and I'm sure I'm going to buy that. So anyway, we came back about a couple of hours later, and sure enough, she was there. And I said, "Oh, I'd like that microphone, please." And she had explained it all. And I say, "Yeah, I'm really pleased about this because I do some recording and so on."
mm,
Anyway, she went to the till and she said, I settled up the money, and I said, "Thank you ever so much." She said, "Oh no," she said, "Can I say?" She said, "I really love your accent and your voice." And she looked at me and she went, she said, "I could talk to you all day listening to your beautiful voice." Now, I said, "Oh," she made me smile. I said, "Oh, thank you for that lovely compliment." She was actually a Palestinian lady, it turned out. Not
All
that you'd
right.
know that. she spoke perfect Spanish. Anyway,
Yeah.
that was the basis of one of the five songs I'm sending in very shortly.
Yeah.
My,
Yeah.
my, what is it? My friend. She's my friend. But it was very sweet, and so I felt it's nice to get, you or I might say that to her, when we might pay her a compliment,
Mm,
but it's nice to get that back, and that is something people have said to me over the years. But again, the same similar thing happened to me on Friday, and I only say this to illustrate that things do go both ways. It's not just men praising. And I actually had to phone the doctors about a prescription on Friday
mm,
which had been messed up. And a lady, she introduces, "Oh, hello, I won't say her name, but I think she was from Australia, but very helpful lady." As I must say, on the rare occasions I have to phone the doctors, they're
mm.
always very helpful. Unlike the stories that sometimes go around about doctors, receptionists. Anyhow, she was a lovely lady, and she solved the issue I had. And I said, "Well, again," I said, "Thank you so much. You've been really helpful." And again, she almost word for word said what the other lady said. She said, "Oh, Trevor," she said, "I've got to say, you've got a lovely voice." And you could read out your prescription to me all the afternoon. And I, laughed. And I said, "Oh, well, thank you so much. It's a lovely compliment." But my
Yeah.
point was that yeah, people do feel able to say it that way, and in fact, one of my granddaughters, Lucy, she said because she was in the room when I was laughing, She said, "What was that about?" And I told her. She said, "I wonder what the other patients, because this is on the reception desk, were thinking of this woman starting to get a bit flirty, or what her
Yeah,
colleagues are." Because it went from a professional phone call to
yeah.
something that felt entirely different. And of course, it's nice to get a compliment like that. It
Mm,
really is. So it does work both ways. So whether I'll now be writing another song about the doctor's receptionist telling me she loves my voice, I don't know. But yeah, it's nice to get those compliments, and that's the sort of stuff that
yeah.
does motivate, gives me subjects to write songs about, not just
Mm,
about my voice, but I'm saying as a principle, when something perhaps out of the ordinary might happen, then it gives me a subject to write about. Yeah, so that
mm,
was good stuff.
mm. Now, talking about women writing songs about men, I just happened to dig up this song by a singer called Beyonce, and I think the title is "If I Were a Boy." And in the
Yeah,
lyrics,
yeah,
she'd say something like, I'll put myself first and make the rules as I go, because I
yeah,
know that she'll
yeah.
be faithful, waiting for me to come back home. Now, if it was a man writing that, um, I don't think the women would love it very much, would they? But then if a woman writes that, I think other women love it. I think they kind of love it, that sort of thing. Like, oh yeah, men have it easy, but not according to Nora Vincent, like you said. And
No,
we're gonna talk about that on Wednesday, which is something for our to whet the appetite of our viewers on this show. Join us on Wednesday, 2:30 p.m. as we talk about the Nora Vincent when she actually disguised herself as a man. But anyway, let's get back to Lady by Trevor Gear. So we're just talking about the lyrics of Lady, or the song Lady by Trevor Gear. So in case you're wondering what the song is about, just jump on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, anywhere where you can get your music from on these online platforms, you will find it there. And actually on YouTube as well. So yeah, I think on YouTube you do. Do you have a lyrics video on YouTube? Is that correct? I don't want to be
yes, I
quote.
do. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
so there's a lyrics video on YouTube where you could actually do a karaoke to it, sing along to it. Serenade your partner to it.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it is on YouTube. Yeah.
yeah, it is on YouTube. Now, the next question I was going to ask about the song Lady is, where was you when you wrote it?
Well, I said in answer to that question last week, I said, well, I wrote it in the bedroom and
Yeah,
recorded it in the living room because I
you say that.
completely misunderstood. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm probably going to say this week, well, I think I was in the loo when I wrote it, but that's another story. But no, where was I? Um,
yeah.
this I wrote this song, I think about 5 years ago.
Mm,
So I was I had been in a relationship at that stage
mm,
for, as far as I remember, about 18 months, and it was a little while after that that I wrote this song because we didn't end the relationship on a bad note. I think we had run its course. It was lovely, a lovely lady, and
mm,
I had all those special feelings early on,
mm,
um, and I think she did too. So it was a song really written for her,
mm,
and I know she had. I gave her the song, so she had it. So yeah, that's where I was in my life. I was,
mm,
as I say, it was after I was divorced, a few years
mm,
before that.
mm,
Um, yeah, and I count myself very fortunate because divorce isn't a nice thing, but it does, as people sometimes say, it can be viewed as a new beginning and not just
mm,
a sad ending. And I feel that's very true for me, that I've been able to move forward in various ways where I love life. The divorce and the sadness of that are consigned to the bins of experience and history. And, we learn and we move forward. And I think this song is an example of how I moved forward then and how I still move forward now.
Hmm,
Life is life is beautiful, and we know there's issues, things are troublesome in many ways,
hmm,
but I think life is wonderful, and we just need to feel alive sometimes and be aware of that.
absolutely. Hold on. Now, the last question would be, since, because we've only got about 5 minutes, since you'd written this song 5 years ago, and obviously things have changed. It depends on how we look at it, half full, half empty. But since you've written this song, um, has your feelings about the song, not about the person, but about the song, has your feelings about the song changed?
Really? No, I think I've always liked this song. I think I put also on YouTube around that time
Hmm,
just quite a brief live acoustic version of it. I sung it. I was filmed singing the song just with a guitar,
hmm,
and I just always particularly liked this song. I mean, I always like to think I can play most of my songs acoustically. I could have a few acoustic gigs of my music just
hmm,
with a guitar, because obviously I add on other instruments when I record them, but they are all playable.
hmm,
And so that's one I did put on YouTube. But yeah, I think if I were to say anything, my sense of yeah, this is a really good song that I've written has
hmm,
increased. When I've actually looked at it and maybe listened to it once in a while,
hmm.
I think it's one of my favourite songs. Yeah,
Mm, mm. I think that can actually point to how mature somebody is. I'm not talking about mature. I'm talking about maturity in an emotional
yeah.
way or sense, if you like, because you could write. I'll tell you this story. So, when I was growing up, I fancied this girl, and and I really loved her. And I'm not going to say her name in case she's listening. But anyway, I was head over heels with her, teenage love. And I bought a wristwatch. I bought a wristwatch then. It was a gold wristwatch. And I saved up a lot to get her that wristwatch. And then a week after I bought the wristwatch, she broke up with me. So I said to my mate at the time, which is more older than me, and I said to him, I said, listen. I said, girls aren't reliable, are they? He said, tell me about it. This is teenagers. And he said, tell me about it. He said, what's happened? I said, well, I said, she don't want to go out with me, because he knew her. And he said, what have you done? I said, what do you mean, what have I done? What about what has she done? And he said, well, I thought you just bought her a gift. I said, yeah, a very expensive wristwatch for that matter. And he said, where's the wristwatch now? I said, she still has it. He said, you want to get it back? I said, I was.
Like an engagement ring or something like that. So did you get it back?
He said, he said, you want to get it back? I didn't because I felt like that was how I felt at the time.
Yeah,
And she, whatever happens afterwards, she's free to have it.
absolutely. Yeah,
She's
of
free
course
to
she
have
is.
it,
Yeah, it
And
was a
and she
gift.
never gave, yeah, she never gave it back. We never talked about it. I did try to get back with her. I tried really hard to get back with her. But it didn't work. So, but I never asked her. But every time I saw her or met up with her to talk, she was wearing the wristwatch and she was very proud of the wristwatch. And I kept saying to myself, that is my wristwatch.
But you learned a lesson there, all right, didn't you? Don't buy a
Well, I
wristwatch
did.
until it's definite.
Yeah. So when I
Yeah,
when I
that's a
thought
shame.
about yeah, when I thought about the song "Lady," and I heard you talk about the story behind the song,
Yeah.
and I thought, well, I wonder if he's still appreciates the fact that you wrote that song. But it's a good thing because it shows mentally that you've been able to, move
Yeah.
on and if if anything, you've gained a friend. You've gained a
Mm.
friend. Um, I don't know how it went, but yeah, but lovely. Thank you for sharing that story about Lady, the song. I will find out the album and we'll
Yeah,
tell me.
I mean, I can if you, I could try now if you like.
All right, okay.
Um, just bear with me, and I'll see if I can. All right, let's have a look.
Uh, let's see if I can find it on Spotify.
All right, I've got it. It's on an album called "She's Beautiful,"
Ah, wow, what a
and it was
befitting.
released in February 20, just before the lockdown, as I remember, February
Ah,
2020.
yeah.
So yes, Lady is on there on
Yeah.
an
So if you're
album
looking for
called "She's Beautiful."
She's beautiful. Yeah, so if you're looking for that album on Spotify, everywhere else, Deezer, Pandora, wherever you are, wherever you're listening from, even Angami, it would be under the album She is Beautiful by Trevor Gear, Lady by Trevor Gear. This is all we've got time for on Behind the Lyrics. We hope that you join us next time as we talk about Cause You're a Woman.
Yes, indeed, we will next week.
Let's talk about Cause You're a
Yes,
Woman. Yeah. So it's a goodbye from me.
and a goodbye from me too. See you next week.
See you next week.